CMV, lobbying shouldn't be legal in any level of government. Have you ever sent a letter to your congressperson asking them to back a law? Congrats, you have lobbied for a law. Lobbying is the foundation of our governmental system. We have representatives who represent constituents, and how else are constituents supposed to let their representatives know what the constituents want? I read your first 2 paragraphs and can tell you do not know what you're talking about. I'm sick of this topic. Delete it. Lobbying is literally 100% completely impossible to ban. Period. Attempts to ban lobbying are all via targeted political attacks. Lobbying is a much wider term than just big companies offering big money to corrupt officials. Homeowners, veterans, retirees, mine workers and so on are other lobbies, each with their own interests. Whether they help or hurt the American, or whatever, people will vary from case to case and will also be subjective. It'll be good for some and bad for others. Keep in mind union also use lobbying to get new worker civility laws in and better payments. It's not just core that use lobbying, unions use it to stick it to the core. You're conflating lobbying with campaign donation. Lobbying is simply the act of presenting your point of view to an elected official, and doesn't necessarily involve anything more. Nonprofits lobby, individuals lobby. Business interests don't have a monopoly on it by any means. It is illegal, but when private investors talk about progress and improvement to society, and discreetly the wallet's open is a traditional way to say yes and how both sides get a profit and get a good deal, to make this work out, in certain way is necessary, but when is necessary modify laws. Lobbying as a whole is constitutionally protected as the people still need the right to petition the government to redress their grievances. If lobbying would be illegal, how would the government know what the ultra-rich want them to do? No, it should not. Especially paid lobbyists. I work in a very high-tech material industry. Sometimes there are pieces of legislation that interfere with our ways to operate in significant ways and it's not targeted at us, but it has big impact on some materials that society deems essential for day-to-day life. Legislators don't know everything and they need guidance from lobbyists sometimes. Completely agree, but it would be a monumental effort to prevent. I am willing to bet a $25,000 cost to your campaign will soften your view. Petitioning, the gov should be illegal? I feel like a better statement would be CMV, lobbyists shouldn't be able to give money to legislators. Lobbyists are simply people who make a profession out of advising legislators to vote a certain way. Every group does it. The problem is that lobbying is where the political process gets corrupted because they serve as a middleman between special interest groups and lawmakers. Lobbying is one of the only ways that congresspersons know the first damn thing about the laws they're passing. They're otherwise utterly clueless. Just make voting in Congress and the Senate anonymous. Then the lobbyists can throw all the money and influence around they want, but legislators can still vote their conscience. They can tell the lobbyists they voted for the bill even if they didn't. This is more a problem with capitalism in general. You can't really stop someone from lobbying. It ensures a person not in the government can participate in it. Delete it. Lobbying should be legal on some level because of the sheer diversity of industries present in the U.S. It's unreasonable to expect legislators to know about every single one of them. That being said, lobbying should be extremely regulated. Any company wishing to do so should be required to have paid taxes for the last 3 fiscal years, be audited every 5 years, and be headquartered in the U.S. Lobbyists in most countries is a profession. They get cards by which they can access the politicians like journalists. The cards should be forbidden. They create lobbyists that you seem to be against. Civilians seeking to influence their reps is okay, right? The fact that there exists expensive lobbyists who go to politicians in person is totally undemocratic and should be criminalized. The ability to actually communicate with your representatives is enshrined in our founding documents. I don't know how much farther from should be illegal you can get. If Manchester Black could give Superman a stroke, I'm sure Victoria Newman would be able to give Homelander a little more than a nosebleed. I doubt she would be able to kill him though. Already agree. Absolutely not. No more campaign donations, quote unquote.